That is the one thing yeah. Afternoon, everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah, all right. Well, welcome everyone. We'll just do some introductions here, get started as more people are entering the room. But I'm Andy Stutzman. I am the chair of the Technology Learning Collaborative here in Philly. And I'm joined here by my colleagues today, Kate Rivera, who is a consultant with TLC Philly and has been leading a lot of these webinars and helping organize things here as well. And as well as Juliet Fink Yates, who is the Digital Inclusion Fellow with the city and my co-chair at TLC for many years too. So welcome. I really appreciate it. So this is just an exciting topic that we've been anxious to talk about, and we appreciate all the speakers, hustling to get everything together for us today. I appreciate that. So we're going to have 4 different speakers today from the different ISPs, from Verizon, Human IT, AT&T, and Comcast today. And we'll have some information also from T-Mobile, but they were not able to make the presentation for today. So again, my name is Andy Stutzman. If you're not familiar with the TLC, we have been around. We are in our 9th year, I believe, and we come out of the Broadband Technology Opportunity Grant that was here in Philly, known as the Key Spot Project, as many of you might know. And we were formed out of digital inclusion, digital literacy workers and programs, people working on those programs about 9 years ago now. And as that grant was winding down, we all wanted to stay together and keep involved. And so that we formed this volunteer organization, the Technology Learning Collaborative, to kind of keep each other informed, keep involved, and create this professional working group. So we've been doing that for, like I mentioned, 9 years, going in our 9th year now. And we've had webinars like this, and we also have we have an annual conference typically as well with a large theme, and which we are still working on. We're hoping to have something this year, but we will get back to you on that as well. And also good news is, I think I've mentioned it before, we will be working on becoming a nonprofit. We're just at the final stages right now, working with our pro bono lawyers from Vanguard through Philly VIP, which is a wonderful program if you've not heard of it. And so we are really anxious and hope to get that full 501c3 nonprofit status very soon. So we'll keep you informed about that. And if you're not part of our member list, for our email list, please you can go to our website at tlcphilly.org and sign up for that now. And we would love to keep in touch with you as well. So, well, to get us kick-started, so this webinar is about the Emergency Broadband Benefit, which is brand new. It started as of May 12th. People are eligible now, and the program kicked off then. And this is just a really important benefit that we wish we had much longer, and it's been long overdue. But it's really important that we get this word out and get the awareness out to our public as well. So we have a lot of kind of different questions we could be asking here, but one thing we are really hoping for is to inform you as the TLC members and visitors today, guests, so that you can help build out the awareness to different families and households that are eligible for this program. And I really thank the speakers for being here today as well. So Juliet, do you want to kick us off and kind of walk through the EBB and what it's all about?
Sure. Thanks, Andy. My job for today is to just give you a very, very broad overview. And then I'm going to let our colleagues at the different internet service providers kind of speak specifically about some of their, how you might be able to take advantage of their programs. So the Emergency Broadband Benefit, as Andy said, is the very first time there is a federal subsidy for internet access in this country. It is a really, really big deal that this has been enacted through COVID relief measures. And what it does is it provides households with a subsidy of up to $50 a month for internet access, and $100 toward one device per household. So that is the general overview of what it does. If you go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the specifics. So who is eligible to get this benefit? I've listed it here, but really the most important thing that folks should know is that a lot of people in Philadelphia are going to be eligible for this benefit. So individual households who are at 135% of the federal poverty level are eligible, or those who are already enrolled in Lifeline, Medicaid, SNAP, and other federal benefit programs. I say et cetera there. They have a longer list on the website for you to look at. So I did not list every single benefit that is eligible. If you have children who are eligible for free and reduced price school lunch program, your household is eligible. So here's the thing about that. Every single child who goes to a Philadelphia district school is automatically, that household is automatically eligible for this benefit because the entire district is considered a free and reduced price school lunch program. And many of the charter schools as well would probably meet this eligibility criteria also. Household members who are Pell Grant recipients. So for example, CCP, folks who might be enrolled in CCP often get Pell Grants. You are eligible for this benefit. Those who've experienced a substantial loss of income since February 29, 2020 are eligible for this benefit. I'll talk a little bit about how you sign up, but you will have to demonstrate your eligibility around this. And those who are eligible for existing internet service provider discount broadband programs, or for example, you participate already in a low income program like Internet Essentials, you are automatically eligible for this benefit. So there are, it's pretty broad. And there are many people who currently have internet access who are going to be eligible to get this benefit and use it towards their internet service to help them afford it. That's something I really want to make sure everybody understands. So you can already have internet, but you can still maybe able to get this benefit for a few months while it lasts. So that leads me to the next thing. How long will this program last? It was made available starting May 12th. So just about a week and a half ago. And technically it will last until 6 months after the Department of Health and Human Services declares an end to the COVID-19 emergency, or until the funds are exhausted. So we are estimating about 6 months. That's what the guidance has been, around 6 months that this program will continue. However, there is evidence that there's a large need for it. There have already been, as of, I think late last week, they said over 1 million people have already signed up for this benefit. So there are a lot of people who need it. And that's a good sign that we may be able to extend it as a longer term benefit down the road. But we don't fully know. So when we talk to folks, we should really make sure they understand right now it's a short-term benefit, and they could think of it almost as a promo period or a way to reduce their costs over the short term. I'm going to go to the next slide. So how do you sign up for this benefit? So the FCC set up a website called getemergencybroadband.org. Make sure you put that get in before emergency broadband. It won't go to the right place if you just type in emergency broadband. So make sure you have the right URL. And the first step so I should back up and say there are a couple ways you can sign up, but the simplest thing that I'm going to tell folks to do is sort of this step 1, step 2, step 3 process. So step 1 is that you will need to the household or the individual will need to sign up at the Lifeline National Verifier. There's a link to it when you go to getemergencybroadband.org. When you sign up, when you fill out the form, you will have to submit documents and upload them verifying your identity and verifying your eligibility. Do you have to submit your social security number? No, you can verify your identity other ways. For example, you can submit the I-10, which number of immigrant communities prefer to submit. There is a paper application that's available. You can download that paper application for your clients. If that's easier for them to complete, you can complete it with them. They have to sign it though, themselves, and they would have to attach their documents that demonstrate their identity and their eligibility. So for example, you would have to attach a document identifying yourself, but also a document for your eligibility. The fastest way I've heard to verify your eligibility is through your Medicaid card if you use Medicaid, because the databases are linked. And so they can really quickly determine your eligibility. So once you submit all your documents, there may be, sometimes you can instantaneously, you'll get told that you've been approved and you can move forward to the next step. Sometimes depending on what you've submitted, it's going to take time for them to review your documents and determine if you're eligible. They have an email for support, and they also have a phone number for support. I do not believe you can sign up by phone, but you can get help through that phone number or assistance if you have questions. I have heard, however, that currently there is a very, very long wait time on that phone number. So be aware that folks may have to wait at this moment in time quite a while. And so it may, you may want to go a different route to get answers to questions that you may have on behalf of your clients. So then once you've been approved, you can choose among a variety of internet service providers that have signed up to participate in the program. All of the folks here on this call have signed up to participate in the program. And there is a list of providers, again, at getemergencybroadband.org. However, not all of those providers serve Philadelphia. So they have generally who serves Pennsylvania. So I'm not going to encourage folks to go look at that really broad list because it might be overwhelming and it's not specific to Philadelphia. We are in the city working to identify which of those groups do serve Philadelphia and what each of them actually offers. But we haven't completed that compiled list yet. So stay tuned. When we have it, we'll make sure to share it out more widely. Typically, you'll be able to select from service options for the different internet providers. Some have wired service to the home. So, you know, our Verizon Fios or our Comcast folks do wired service to the home. Some offer mobile hotspots, which might be better for some of your folks. And some you can also apply the benefit to mobile phone service as well. One point to note is that there's not a ton of providers, internet service providers that are offering devices, but there are some, and we do have one on the call today who can talk a little bit about that. And then the final step is going, so you've selected who you want to get service with. If you don't have any service at all, perhaps you already have service and you know that you already have service with, you know, Verizon or Comcast, and you want to apply the benefit to that service. In that case, you can skip step 2 and go right to step 3. And typically they will ask you to either fill out a form to apply that benefit, call a number to apply the benefit, or in some instances, you can go right into the store and talk with a rep, and the representative at the store will apply the benefit as well. On the back end, those companies will then connect with what you've already applied for at the national verifier to make sure that you do qualify and are eligible, and then you'll be able to get your discount, in a sense, on your bill. So that is the sort of general way that the program works. Let me go to the next. I don't know if there's another slide after this. So if you need help, this is kind of a complex process. We know that it's not easy for folks to sign up, fill out forms, submit documentation, particularly for folks who don't have internet. This is really challenging. We know this. We've been doing this for a long time, so we know that this is challenging. So you can get help through any of our digital navigator orgs. Andy runs one of them here through the Excite Center. Many of you are also doing digital navigation work in your own organizations. But if you don't have capacity to support somebody or need more help, the digital navigator orgs really are working to successfully sign people up for this service and have had a couple successes already. So I encourage you we'll send this information out that you can forward folks to any of these digital navigators and they can help them complete the process. And I think that's the last of my slides for that overview. So I'm going to hand it back to Andy or Kate to talk about the next set of our ISPs, what they're offering.
Great. Thank you, Juliet. I really appreciate it. That was really helpful. And I apologize for not announcing earlier. We did put in the chat, though, we are recording this session. So we have been posting these webinars on YouTube later on. So I also apologize to the speakers for not mentioning that to you earlier, too. It's been a crazy day. So, but I just want to make sure everyone is aware of that as well. So thank you so much. I apologize for that. So I'm going to introduce one at a time as they speak. So we have different four different ISPs that will be speaking, and I've asked them to present one slide and then have 5 minutes each, basically, and then we'll do some question and answers after they're all done as well. And if you have questions as the audience, feel free to put them in the chat, and we will try and grab those as well, the questions, and be able to relay them back to and we'll ask them back to the speakers as well. So first off, we have Tamara Priest, who is Vice President and Managing Associate General Counsel for Verizon. And Tamara, welcome, and please share what you have for us. Thank you.
Sure, thanks. Is someone putting up the slide? Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. As Andy said, my name is Tamara Priest. I'm with Verizon and Federal Regulatory Affairs in Washington. Thanks very much for having me on this panel today. Verizon's very pleased to be participating in the EBB program. I won't read the slide, but a lot of the information I'm giving will be in the slide. We're offering the EBB benefit on a whole range of services. We offer it on our mobile plans, so our mix and match, which are unlimited plans, no data caps. We're offering on those. We're also offering on our fixed wireless plans, so that's LTE Home and 5G Home, where they're offered, where they're available. And we are offering it on all of our Fios mix and match bundles as well. So the fiber to the home offering that hopefully is very popular in Philadelphia. Anyway, so on all three different types of services, the sign up program, the enrolling is exactly as Juliet described. Hopefully customers who are interested in enrolling in EBB will go first to that getemergencybroadband.org. It helps a lot if they've already figured out their eligibility and taken those steps before they call Verizon. Once they've done that, they give Verizon a call. We're doing this by phone primarily, thinking that people who are looking for broadband access may not have broadband access, so we're making this available through reps on the phone. And then once they've a customer has picked a plan, either whether it's a mobile plan or a Fios plan, gone through the enrollment process with us on the phone, then we finish off the plan. Again, as Juliet described, we will upload information to USAC about the customer who has enrolled. The process is not as simple as we would like it to be. Again, as you're talking to your clients or people who are potentially interested in enrolling, one thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of requirements that the FCC has imposed to ensure lots and lots of knowledge and notice of customers of what they're getting. Like the first thing that Juliet mentioned, this is a temporary program. It's up until the money runs out or Congress appropriates more money, we're not sure. So it could only last 6 months. So we want to make sure customers know that and that they realize at the end of that plan, they'll either have to, terminate their service or go back to their existing plan or go to a different plan if that's what they like. So that's kind of the big overview. We're finding, I think I saw a question in the chat. We are offering mobile hotspots too, so both. So it can be a mobile data plan that you use with your mobile phone, your handy iPhone or whatever it is, or a mobile hotspot, which then can provide connectivity for multiple devices like a laptop or multiple laptops. So we're offering both. Let's see. We experienced extremely high call volume at the beginning. We had, unfortunately, weren't able to pick up as many calls. It was higher than we had anticipated. Since then, we have added resources beginning last week. So I am hopeful that we have a better process for customers calling up. But if you have problems, don't give up, hold on. Same thing with USAC and that getemergencybroadband.org. I understand there have been delays there. I just encourage customers to be patient and try again, and hopefully we'll get you all taken care of. One thing we did change in our initial offering, we offered all of our current mobile mix and match and FiOS mix and match plans, but we were not offering on legacy FiOS plans. We have now changed that. So legacy bundles that may include video are now eligible for the EBB if you're an existing customer and you have one of those plans. But again, we want to remind people that by the FCC's rules, the discount cannot apply to the video part of a bundle. It only applies to the broadband part. So that's a quick overview. Happy to take questions now or at the end.
That's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just in sense of time, I think we'll go through each presentation and then we'll take some questions at the end of that as well. This is great. So yeah, thank you again. And Stephanie Costa is up next. She's the Regional Vice President and Government and Regulatory Affairs at Comcast. And Stephanie, I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be on the panel today. I do a lot of work with many people on this panel and attending the calls about digital inclusion and digital equity. So this is one of the many things that I'm involved in along with the PHL Connected. That's the IEPP for students, lift zones. So kind of all things in this sphere. Please feel free to reach out and touch base with me on those. But today we're talking about the Emergency Broadband Benefit. As you heard, it's up to $50 a month towards your internet service. If you are on tribal lands, you're part of that population, it could be up to $75. It's a 1, 2, 3 process, just like Tamara was talking about. For us, you have to qualify first. So if you are, confirm your eligibility. If you are not already an Internet Essentials customer, you qualify first at getemergencybroadband.org, and then you come to us and connect through Internet Essentials at internetessentials.com or xfinity.com, depending on which program you want to be involved in. And then you can start the EBB application there at xfinity.com/EBB. If you go to xfinity.com/EBB, it will walk you through that process. Now, if you are already on Internet Essentials, you already qualify for this. You get to go right to step 3, go to xfinity.com/EBB, and there's a more streamlined process for you there. We have a lot of people dedicated to this, and a whole group stood up. So we hopefully that our internal wait times are low. I have heard that sometimes the wait times from the federal perspective can be a little onerous, but the quickest way to do it is online. I know that can be unhelpful for people who may not have the digital literacy that we are all striving for people to have, but there are also phone numbers that you can call. Best way to go though is go to xfinity.com/EBB for that walkthrough. Comcast is not participating in the device part of this program, but we are happy to participate in the service part, and this is for wired internet to your house. Now, some caveat here: if you are on an IEPP, we would encourage, and that's an Internet Essentials partnership program like PHL Connect. That's when a third-party partner is paying for your internet connection already. We would encourage you to stay on that because of the insecurity of whether EBB continues, right? We all know that there's a limited program. You heard of it heard prior when Juliet was presenting, that we're unaware for how long this will be funded. We're all hopeful that it gets funded in perpetuity. Comcast is certainly advocating for that, among others on this call, but it is possible that it ends and then you end up with a product that then becomes a paid product. So if you are already on an IEPP, especially PHL connected, we would encourage you to stay on that. If you do want to participate in EBB and you're already on PHL connected or another IEPP, you'd have to de-enroll from that and enroll into the EBB. And that is a complicated process when you already have the program through PHL connected. So that's what I wanted to cover for EBB, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Stephanie. Well, next up, we have Fiona Foster from Human IT. She's the program manager there. And Fiona, I will let you take it away to talk about your program.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andy. So like I mentioned, my name is Fiona Foster. I'm a program manager here at Human IT. And Human IT, for those of you who don't know, is a nationwide 501c3 nonprofit based and founded in Long Beach, California, with a second location in Detroit, Michigan, but we do service all 48 contiguous United States, and our EBB offering is offered in all zip codes of the 48 contiguous United States. With that said, our EBB offering is a mobile hotspot. It gets 25 megabytes per second maximum unlimited data with no throttling, which is where your speed slows down based on how much data you use on the Sprint T-Mobile network. The hotspot is $85 one time, and then the service is free until the program runs out. And one nice thing about our offering is we were approved for an alternative verification process through the EBB, which means that our subscribers do not need to go through getemergencybroadband.org. So they'll come directly to us, they'll submit their documentation to us. This was an existing low-income program that we were offering before EBB started, so it's a very simple, streamlined process, and we have a staff of folks that have been signing people up to this for a long time. So we're seeing that our customers do get through a little bit faster than those who have to go through getemergencybroadband.org because of the issues that people have already identified where USAC is a little backed up there. Our hotspots do come with 1 year of free technical support and a 9-month manufacturer's warranty. When EBB ends, if it ends, and of course we're hoping as well that it doesn't, but if it ends, subscribers will have the option to continue their service on their hotspot at $14.99 per month, the same offering, same speed, unlimited data, and it is no contract, pay as you go. So they're not locked in, they can choose to start and stop at any time. We are also one of the few providers participating in the device subsidy piece of EBB. So folks who sign up with us to get a hotspot will receive an $100 off coupon for Chromebooks on our e-commerce website. They are refurbished Chromebooks, making their contribution within the required EBB pricing, so $10 to $49.99 per month. And then our contact information is here at the bottom. So you can text, call, or visit our web form. And I know I sent the staff my flyer and also template language to talk about our program. So if you want to share it with your clients, we'd certainly appreciate that. And thank you guys for having me. I'll happy to answer any questions that come up as well.
Great, thanks, Fiona. I appreciate it. Joe Divis is the interim president at AT&T in New Jersey and AVP of External Affairs from AT&T and with Cricket Wireless as well. So, Joe, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks a lot, Andy, and excuse me. Thank you for pulling this together. And as Stephanie said, there's a lot of familiar faces and folks on this call, and we're glad to be participating, both for AT&T and Cricket. I think I won't repeat a lot of what was said about the pre-authorization with eligibility and all that, but for my company, select Cricket Wireless and AT&T prepaid plans are available for the EBB program. It's available for new and existing customers. I put into the chat, I'll do it again, some of the contact information both for Cricket and for AT&T. where folks can get information. Both you can text, like with AT&T, you can call in with Cricket, and there's also the web links. We like some of the others, because of the pricing of some of our tablets, we're not able to participate in that benefit. But with respect to service, certainly we are participating. And again, there is no annual contract with our prepaid plans, so that is a good positive thing. We have several plans, both including unlimited, that are eligible under the AT&T offerings. We will be notifying customers, when the service, the benefit is concluding. I think it's a little bit, I think, squishy, because it depends on when. I think as long as the money lasts, that the federal government has appropriated, or the COVID emergency. But I would suggest that folks on the call can check on the chat with the details of how they can advise their clients and their constituents on availability with respect to AT&T and Cricket. Certainly go to our stores once they have gotten their availability or eligibility squared away, and we're more than happy to offer an opportunity for them to avail themselves of our service. And it sounds like there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of providers that are offering this. So that's, I think, pretty much it. Maybe best to go to questions. I don't have any more, Andy. I think it's pretty, we're pretty straightforward with respect to, we are not an internet, a home internet provider here the way Comcast and Verizon are. So we are strictly a mobile play with respect to the EBB in this market.
Yeah, and that can be easy to get confused. I know AT&T is home provider in the Midwest and other states too.
Yeah,
right?
yes,
So,
right,
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
So clarify.
That's great. Yeah, thank you so much. I think we do have one slide with a T-Mobile who is not able to be here today, just to kind of share real quick. I'll let you, and we will be providing links to everything else as well. And we hope to have, I'm hoping to plan to get you all some flyers as well for outreach and awareness, and so we can kind of get this out there, because I know a lot of you work with different audiences, and we want to make sure where this information gets out to everybody as well. So it looks like there's a $40 a month service plan for T-Mobile, and they do have a tablet available with this with unlimited data, and this is for the hotspot as well. So and I would also say for T-Mobile, again, I know their hotspots are also being used for PHL connected for many households as well. So if you have households or folks you're working with that have the T-Mobile hotspot through PHL connected, as Stephanie said with Internet Essentials, we don't recommend disconnecting from the PHL connected program. It's probably best to stay in that as well. So, but great, thank you so much. So if folks have questions they want to ask, it looks like we might have a couple questions in there, but feel free to ask those questions in the chat right now. I do have a couple questions just for folks. Just I want to make sure to clarify things that I was kind of taking note of as well. Fiona, I noticed you had the $85 fee signing up. Is that the cost for the hotspot? Is that what that fee was for?
Yeah, that's correct. Unfortunately, EBB wasn't allowed to be used on the cost of a hotspot.
Okay.
So if that changes, we will change that. But at the moment, that is, yes, the cost of the hotspot. Okay,
great. I just wanted to clarify that. Yep, thank you. So one of the things that's been coming up with questions wise, and that some of you have answered this, but I just want to make sure we're clear on this as well, is how are you handling the EBB accounts when the EBB ends, right? Will people be locked into a contract they continue to pay for, or will they be able to opt out as soon as the EBB runs out as well? And will they be notified when that service runs out as well? Can someone else want to kick us off how you're handling?
I can start with that if you want. There are actually quite a few FCC requirements around that. The FCC says you can't charge an EBB customer more when the program ends without their express opt-in consent. So We are telling customers at enrollment what's going to happen at the end, and that if they want to continue the service without the discount, and again, if we come to that, maybe more money will be appropriate at one end, that they will have to provide their express consent. And the FCC rules are pretty clear. If you don't get customer consent at the end of the program, you can't charge them more. You have to actually terminate their service. And that's true even if it's an existing customer, which could be a really kind of dislocating customer experience. So as I said, we're explaining this at the time of enrollment so that people know exactly what will happen at the end of the program, and that they, again, have to give their consent to stay with the plan that they've signed up for, or they can switch to a different plan, whatever they want, but that nothing's going to happen to them automatically. They won't be shifted onto a higher price plan and start paying more without lots of notice and opportunity to decide otherwise.
That's great to know about that. Yeah.
Comcast is handling it a similar way. Obviously, we're all going to comply with the federal guidelines here. You will, when EBB ends, your service will continue with Comcast, but you will have at least 30 days notice. We'll definitely provide lots of notice. And if you don't want to continue receiving your service after EBB end, of course, you can change or end. You're not locked into a contract here. The one thing I did want to actually mention, I did not mention the speeds when we talked about Internet Essentials. Obviously, there's a suite of internet programs you could apply for under EBB with Comcast, but our Internet Essentials program is 50 over 5. That's the speed, and that's a new change this year. So I always want to get that out so people know how fast the service is now. That's double the FCC rate for high-speed internet.
And we're lucky here. Sorry about that. We're lucky here at Human IT that our plan has always been pay as you go. So there was never a billing process or a way to be locked in anyway. But what I can confirm is that the hotspot and the device with the discount is something that the client keeps regardless of whether or not they continue their service after the program. We've gotten that question a lot as well.
Right.
And for, excuse me, for AT&T and Cricket, we are offering EBB on prepaid plans, so there is no contract, and so there's not that issue with these. But that said, we will still be providing notice for customers that are availing themselves of this benefit to make sure that they know, when the benefit is ending.
That's great.
And I would add to the point that Comcast made, that since we're offering it on a bunch of different mix and match plans, what we're finding is most new customers coming in for the EBB benefit are signing up for 200 megabits up to 200 down, so a symmetrical service. That's probably the most popular for EBB on our FiOS side, but the customers have choices, and some are opting for the full 1 gig service. So we have a number of different plans and customers can choose. And based on the price of that plan after the EBB ends, if it ends, they can either stay on that plan or move to a different one. There's no contract or no penalty or anything for doing that, but we're finding the 200 symmetrical to be the most popular at this point.
That's great. Is there, Juliet's asking, is there any kind of delay or like a 90-day discontinuation with any of your plans as well? Like if they're switching plans when the service ends or switching services?
Yeah, if they go from, say, Stephanie, Xfinity, and they're on Xfinity with EBB, and then they want to go into IE because they can't afford it anymore, is there any wait time? And I'm just using that as an example. That may be true on other plans as well.
My understanding is no, that there is not, you can travel between plans right now under the EBB, but Bob Smith is also on this call. So I just want to double click. So if he either can throw that in the chat or agree with me on the call, that would be a great point of truth.
I think you're correct on that, and we'll double check.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
That's wonderful. Yep. And I believe we did share that everyone shared their speeds again. So I think Toby was from Generations Online is asking the speeds, and a lot of you just verified that as well. That's great. And we are, what's the other question? So one thing I think everyone covered this, and I can't remember, Tamara, if you covered this as well. Do you have devices available through Verizon as well?
No, Verizon's not participating in the device program. And part of it is we're offering these on our mobile plans. And as somebody said earlier, not all these, like the mobile hotspots are not eligible for the device discount.
Okay, great. Yeah. I just wanted to
Oh, but
make
I
sure
should,
that.
I should say one thing on the FiOS side, like that I was mentioning, just as an example, the 200 megabit down, 200 megabit up plan, that is a $39.99 plan if there are no other discounts that apply. So the $50 discount would cover all of that. If you also rent a router from Verizon, which you might not, but if you do, that equipment is covered because that's associated equipment. So I think it's $15. So with the $39.99 and $50 discount, the customer would pay $4.99, and that would cover the equipment as well.
And Comcast has a similar way. If you have a higher plan, the $50 discount first applies to the plan, then to the modem rental if you rent a modem.
That's great. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. That's helpful to know. Yeah. Now with the EBB in general, can any of you talk about how you're advertising this out to your customers in general? So how is the customer base getting to know about these programs in general?
So Comcast is on a full marketing plan. We are pushing it out through in multiple ways. Obviously, we have a fully functioning website. I'm assuming all of my colleagues in other companies also have that too. We have also fully pushed out emails to everybody who currently has Internet Essentials, so that they can also participate in the plan. We've had great response to that direct email to Internet Essentials customers.
Yeah, similar for us at Human IT, we're utilizing some social media marketing. We have a fully built out website, working via email and robocall to reach out to our existing customers. And then we also work with a network of partner organizations across the country, so they are also sharing our information.
That's great.
I would say similar, social media and other certainly platforms and opportunities, and certainly in our 21 states where we are we do provide home internet. We're doing a substantial amount with our AT&T Access program, things like that. In this market, obviously, it's mobile only, and just people can come into our stores certainly and get information from our associates.
Similar for Verizon, we have a website, landing page on our website with all the information you need. Basically, the information that was in the slide that I had up, and social media pushing involvement in the program. And then events like this, reaching out and talking to partners and communities through our state and local government affairs teams who have knowledge of this and have stakeholders who are very interested in it.
And Joe just reminded me of, you can also walk into an Xfinity store, obviously, and get help with EBB.
That's great. Yeah, it's one thing we've noticed, especially with the digital navigator programs, things like that. Is sharing online is not always helpful when people don't necessarily have internet access. So, are there any kind of other advertising you might be doing besides like social media or online? Is anyone doing? I know paper mail is not the best way to do things these days, or is the most cost-efficient way to do these things, I should say. Is there any kind of paper mailing or maybe targeted advertising that's going on as well? Wow, I asked the difficult question. Oh no.
Well, because you're talking to a bunch of GA people about marketing.
I know. I'm
So
sorry. You're right. You're right.
I think Andy, what your question is suggesting is just how appropriate this webinar is. That you pulled this together for to enable your constituents and people across the neighborhoods and communities in the city to have this information and have your one-stop shop really to get this information. So, congratulations and thanks to TLC and your whole team and Juliet, obviously one of our favorite people in the world, for, pulling this together. So
mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. And to echo Joseph there, Human IT does not directly, but most of our nonprofit organizations do, either via phone calls or flyering, or even people who are stopping by in person on an appointment basis to their offices.
One of the
Jenna.
conversations that Joe and I and others on this call often have with Juliet is that trusted, valued voice. And that's, that's organizations like TLC and other third-party nonprofit partners that we all work for. Big company, big co is not always the trusted voice in the room. So we really do depend on our partners. That word of mouth is so much more effective than any advertisement anybody's going to come across.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. I appreciate that. For putting it in my place. I know I'm not talking to marketing people. That's great. So Juliet was also asking, I think most of you mentioned this, anyone can walk into those that have physical stores, you can walk into physical stores and ask about this, and customer service should know about this. I know.
Sure.
Okay. That's great. Great. Oh, that's a great question, Jim. So, especially with the digital navigator programs we have out there, which are basically, civic help desks in many ways. Do we know if digital navigators are allowed or are welcome to actually help people fill out the forms to actually get verified or sign up for the EBB?
Andy, I can actually sort of address that. So if folks haven't been on the FCC's website yet for broadband, they did do a webinar. It's kind of long, and I'm not going to lie, it's kind of dry. But it does have a lot of good information, and they do say that the individual must verify, they must sign for themselves. They have to consent and verify who they are on that universal verifier, and they are supposed to do that with the ISP. So technically, no, somebody like a digital navigator cannot technically sign for them. So how they know that, if they're typing it in or if they're signing it, I don't really know. So I'd actually kind of push it back to, I think we have a couple of our digital navigators on the call, if they have signed up folks on behalf who don't have access to the internet, because I think that the guidance is that that person really does have to sign those forms themselves.
So I would suggest that if anybody's helping somebody, they don't actually tell. At least
that's
Sarah
right,
and I,
Stephanie,
because we're
don't say
lawyers, so we don't want to hear it. La 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 la.
The only thing I'll add there is for providers that do have an AVP like Human IT, yes, you can help people through our process because our AVP does not include a physical signature. So that wasn't something that we had to include as part of our AVP process we were approved for.
But and you are the ISP, basically, right, too? I mean, you're considered the internet service provider, or is it?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
So, and we're not the only provider in the process that was able to be approved for an alternative verification process. I know there are others out there, though not too many, unfortunately.
Got you. Well, this is great.
There's one other thing I want to mention too, Andy. Technically, and it covers this in detail on that webinar at the FCC, there are many people who get their internet service, they pay for it in their rent, or their landlord may pay for it on their behalf, and they qualify the individual. There is a way that you can apply the benefit through your landlord. I just want to mention it because a lot of folks are maybe in this situation, and that webinar does talk about it a little bit, and you could probably follow up with more information, but the landlord and the renter have to agree to those terms, to agree to the conditions and sort of be on the same page around it. So I did want to mention that for folks who may be in that particular situation.
That's great. Thank you for that clarification. That's great to hear. Great. So we'll take another couple 30 seconds if there's any other questions out there people have out there, or if there's any other information any of our speakers would like to share. Again, we still have a few more minutes left here. I'm going to go back to my list of questions to see if I missed anything. Yeah, let's see if anyone. Bob shared about the Comcast flyers, Internet Essentials. Yep. So In the city also for our digital navigator programs, we also have multiple languages for some of those flyers. And again, we'll be sharing out this information later on as well. And yes, thank you, Kate. Yep, Kate's sharing out. So if you have feedback on the webinar, please let us know. We would love to continue these kind of conversations with the ISPs and other organizations in the future as well. So also, if you have ideas on what kind of webinars you would like to hear from us, please let us know as well. That's something we would love that feedback on as well. So,
Andy, could I make a pitch if I may?
Sure.
It's on EBB, but not exactly how to do EBB, but a bigger picture. As we all work through this, and hopefully it's a great success and lots of people sign up and get really robust broadband access that either didn't have it at all before or didn't have good access. We want to sort of capture lessons learned. As everyone probably realizes, broadband access, both in terms of is the infrastructure there and whether customers can afford it, it's huge on Capitol Hill right now. Lots of states are looking at it. So if there are things about this program, which was stood up very quickly and departs in significant ways from like the FCC's existing Lifeline program, if things that work or don't work, it can capture those from your organizations, from your stakeholders, and be involved in the process in the states and in the federal government on Capitol Hill, because there's a lot of discussion there about extending the EBB benefit, more appropriate, our appropriated funds, the way to do this. But what's the best approach? And I know that people who actually have been through the experience and have worked with it for the duration of the program will be very, very credible sources of information and suggestions on that. So I suggest people stay engaged and with the big picture and what this looks like if and when the EBB program ends.
Thank you. That's great. And that's I would also through that I would also pitch the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. If anyone's is a partner with them, it's free to join to get on their listserv as well, where you can learn more about the EBB as things come out in different policies as well on that. So yeah.
I think what Tamara said is spot on. That this could be a real push towards modernizing, whether it's modernizing Lifeline, creating that sustainable funding source for this affordability issue going forward is important. So a lot of that discussion going on.
Great, thank you, Joe. Yeah. Well, it looks like again I'll just remind you to fill out the webinar, the feedback for the webinar if you can. And Kate just shared the digitalinclusion.org, which is the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. And if anyone remembers, one of the last conferences we had was actually two conferences ago. We had Angela Seifert, the head of the NDIA, actually speak at TLC. So, and for next month, we will be focusing on our webinar around computer refurbishing and distribution. So we're hoping to, I know that Temple, Jonathan Lacko at Temple will be talking about his efforts at his computer recycling center and they're opening up a new help desk there as well, or a kind of a key spot in a distribution center there. And also we'll be trying to get Nerdit Foundation to speak as well about their computer distribution efforts. And hopefully Electronic Frontier Foundation, I believe as well. We'll try and get those involved. And I'll be talking about some of the work that we do with digital navigators programs too. So I encourage you, we will send out a link again, another link for the next month's webinar as soon as we get that up and running. And thank you all for participating and joining us today. This was a great discussion. Thank you to our speakers again. Give you a round of applause. I really appreciate you, especially last minute helping me pull this together. This is a really critical issue. We really need to get out the awareness and do some outreach on this. And again, we'll push out more information out to the attendees today, so you have all the links that you need, and so you can start sharing this with all your different constituents and folks that you're working with. So again, thank you everyone for attending. And we someone asked real quick, is there a list of providers that are discounting devices? We'll try and provide that in all the information we have out to everyone. So yep. So thanks everyone. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of your week. And and take care, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for having us.